everybody. How is it going out there this evening? Super excited to be here with y'all. Thank you so much for hopping in tonight. Over the next few minutes, we're going to talk about some really cool stuff. You're probably here because you saw an email or you saw the post on social media about the free workshop and the free training that I'm doing this evening. And so I thank you first and foremost for being here tonight. And I promise over the next few minutes that I'm going to give you everything I can in the time that we have together. And so with that said, let's hop right into it. Before we get started, though, I do want to tell everybody about an upcoming event that's taking place on March 28th and 29th. It is a virtual event. It's the Women in Faith and Business Summit. I've been blessed with the opportunity to MC this event and look at the phenomenal lineup of speakers that we have coming to this event in March. Next month is Women's Month. So what a great time to do this event to empower women in their faith and in their business and their walk. So this is going to be an extremely powerful event. So it's free. Go to wfbsummit.com, register for this event. Life-changing 2 days. It will be virtual, so you can tune in from literally anywhere to hear all of these amazing speakers. Miles Monroe said, the great late Miles Monroe said that the wealthiest place on earth is not the diamond mines in South Africa or the oil fields in Saudi Arabia. It's not Wall Street. The wealthiest place on earth is the cemetery, because in the cemetery are buried, businesses that were never started, dreams that were never fulfilled, books that were never written, paintings that were never painted. The wealthiest place on earth is the cemetery, because so many people took amazing things to the grave with them and never put them into reality. And so tonight we're going to talk about taking your story and taking it to the masses, taking some of the things that you've learned in this life, in your journey, in your walk, sharing it with others with the purpose of inspiring, encouraging, and lifting other people up. So tonight we're going to deep dive into a lot of stuff that I'm going to go through very, very quickly with you all. And so pay close attention, because I'm going to talk fast. And if you listen fast, then you and I will stay on the same page together. But tonight in this workshop, I want to talk to you about why you should be writing a book in the first place. We're going to talk about what you should write about. I'm going to share with you how to structure your book. I'm going to tell you how to get it done, how to stay focused, and some of the things that you can do that will keep you focused on getting this book written. I'm going to talk to you about the self-publishing versus going through a publisher. So tonight is going to be extremely informational. All right. Now, for those of you that stay to the end, if you stick around to the end, I've got something I'm going to share with you that is going to almost guarantee, it will guarantee, in fact, that you get this book done in 2024. So stick around to the end. Also, if you stick around to the end, I have a special gift that I am going to send to you if you stay until the end. So don't go anywhere. All right. So before we jump into all that, I want to tell you guys a quick story. I grew up in Tampa, Florida. I started playing football when I was 4 years old. It was what I wanted to do with my life. I was going to be a football player, not a doctor, not a fireman, not a policeman growing up. I wanted to be a football player. And even at a young age, I had that natural talent. And over the years, my parents gave me every opportunity, put me in every program possible to help feed the passion that I had for the sport. Got into my high school years. The opportunities were there for the taking. But one night, my senior year, I would make a split-second decision that would literally change the course of my life forever. I got invited to a keg party in South Tampa on a private beach, bonfire, keg of beer, hundreds of teenagers doing what we had no business doing at 16 and 17 years old. And at this party, one of my friends got into an argument with a teen from a rival high school. Big fight breaks out. I jump in the fight. Didn't think anything of it at the time. Somebody yelled cops. Everybody ran to their cars. It was another Friday night, another fight, another party. We'd been there before. We had seen it before. But this time it was going to be different because 3 days later, the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Department showed up at my parents' home with a warrant for my arrest. You see, one of the teens that I had hit during that Friday night altercation had slipped into a coma. At that moment, everything changed in my life. It was almost like the clock stopped ticking in my life. My dad took me down, turned me into the county jail. And the last thing he said to me before I walked through the door was, son, just be strong, hang in there. We're going to get you out of here shortly. But what my dad didn't know and what I didn't know at the time was that they were going to actually revoke my bond the next morning because this young man was in a coma. They didn't know if he was going to live or die. They didn't know if they were going to charge me with murder or attempted murder. So I literally sat in the county jail for 90 days, my senior year in high school. All the hopes and dreams that I had, growing up, playing football, going to the next level, going to college, I had the bull by the horns. Everything I'd worked for my whole life was about to become a reality. And instead, because of one split-second decision, I was sitting in the county jail waiting to find out what was going to happen to me, waiting to find out what my fate was going to be. And that fate was no longer in my hands. And I called home about 90 days in. I called home. My mom answered the phone crying, and she said, son, he came out of the coma. He's going to live. And y'all, it was the best news I'd ever heard in my life. But, when I go and I speak at our high schools and our middle schools and our colleges to our youth, I always try to impart on them when we make bad choices in life, there are almost always bad consequences that come along with those bad choices. And to make a long story short for y'all here on this training this evening, for that one split-second decision, that one choice, that one lapse in judgment, that Friday night on that beach, at 17 years old, they sentenced me to 10 years in Florida State Prison. Nothing in life had prepared me for the world that I was about to enter. I got sent to one of the worst prisons in the state of Florida at the time. The gang violence was daily. The riots were weekly. They've since then shut that place down because it was that bad. And, I fought for my life on numerous occasions. I watched people stabbed to death, beat to death right in front of me. It was a far cry from anything I had ever known in my life up until that point. I was in survival mode, literally. And it was about a year into my incarceration, and it was lights out time, and that steel door slammed shut on that prison cell, sealing me in for the night. And there I was in the pitch darkness, so dark I couldn't see a foot in front of my face. And this particular night, the weight of the world just came crashing in on me. I mean, I felt every emotion that you could imagine, feelings of hopelessness, helplessness, fear, regret, remorse, hopelessness. I mean, there was no light at the end of the tunnel for me. And as these emotions consumed me, I crouched down in the corner of the cell and pulled my knees tight to my chest and began to cry. And for the first time in my life, the thought of suicide actually crossed my mind. Everything I'd worked for my whole life was gone. It was never going to return. And as I sat there in the corner of that cell crying, I felt like my life had no meaning and it had no purpose. And in that moment, as I'm sitting there in the darkness, contemplating suicide, I remember something. It was something my grandfather had told me when I was about 10 years old. I used to spend my summers at my grandparents in North Florida, and my grandfather was a Christian, and he used to always preach at me during those summer visits, trying to impart some words of wisdom on me, and I didn't want to hear any of that growing up. I had my own agenda in life and what I thought I wanted and knew and all of that good stuff. I knew everything. I was bulletproof, right? But one summer he got my attention and he said, son, just promise me one thing. And I said, yeah, granddaddy, what is it? He said, just promise me that if you're ever at a dark moment in life and your back's against the wall and you don't feel like you have any way out, just promise me that you'll drop to your knees immediately and cry out for God. I said, okay, granddaddy, sure. Whatever you say. Y'all, I didn't think about that moment again until that night in that cell. I was there, darkest place of my life, back against the wall, no way out. And so I spun around on my knees and I laid my face on that cold, hard, dirty concrete prison floor. And I cried like I never cried before in my life. And in an instant, when I called out his name, everything changed. All the feelings of hopelessness and helplessness and fear, remorse, regret, all of them subsided and they were replaced with this overwhelming feeling of joy and peace and purpose. I went to bed that night and slept like a baby for the first time in a year. Woke up the next morning. I had a new lease on life, no pun intended. But they didn't come and open the gates. They didn't come and say, "Hey, Steve, we're going to let you out. You made a great decision, giving your life to Christ and finding God, and now we're going to let you out so you can go back and continue with your life and your journey." Nope, I still had 9 years on a 10-year sentence to do. So I began to eat, sleep, and drink every ounce of self-development material that I could get my hands on. I knew if I was going to go do something great with my life, when I got out of that place, I was going to need to develop myself from the inside out. Now, I had no idea that I would become an international speaker, author, coach, doing all of these things. I had no idea what I would use it all for. I just knew I wanted to get better from the inside out. So I walked out after 7 years, and this is an actual picture of me walking out of the prison, got everything I owned right there in that plastic bag and ready to take on the world. Right. And so I go into corporate America, I become a national sales trainer. In 2008, I get laid off and it forces me into entrepreneurship. Now, there's a whole nother story there that I'm not going to deep dive into tonight, but I can tell you that, when I lost my corporate job after several years, again, I found myself in a place, just questioning. And what a blessing in disguise it was, because losing that corporate job forced me into entrepreneurship and ultimately led me to doing what I'm doing today. So it was a blessing in disguise. Since then, I have been blessed with the opportunity to speak on hundreds of stages around the world to audiences from all walks of life, everything from high schools, middle schools, colleges, to leadership conventions, to corporations, prisons, you name it. We also do our own events, our own live seminars, etc., just empowering business professionals to want more, to do more, to become more, to play at a level that God has created them to play at. I've been blessed to be featured on the cover of magazines, television, all of that. And as you can see there in the shot of the TV show, it was the book. The book was a catalyst that opened so many doors. The book just created so many opportunities. And it's why every single one of my coaching clients writes a book. It's a requirement to work with me, because I know what that book did for me, and I know what your book can do for you. And it's one of the reasons that we're here this evening. Now, I didn't share any of those accolades with you to boast by any means, because it was a long road to get here. Obviously there was the whole prison stint. And then after I got out of prison, even though I was doing well and successful, there was something missing. I wasn't walking in my purpose. I didn't feel like I was really doing the great things that I felt in that cell that night, that I was going to go do one day. And it led me to a realization. I wasn't sharing my story. When I got out of prison, the devil had convinced me that sharing my story was a bad thing, that it was going to close doors, it was going to prevent opportunity, it was going to keep me from being successful. And so for the longest time when I got out of prison, I wasn't sharing that story. I wasn't sharing that story in corporate America. I wasn't sharing that story even as I became an entrepreneur. Only close friends and family actually knew my story. I was out networking in the community, shaking hands, building businesses, and I wasn't sharing my story. And so when I went on this mission to figure out what it was that I was really supposed to be doing, why I was here, it's when I found that I had not been showing up authentically for all that time. And God did some things, and he sent some people in my life, and he sent some messages to me telling me that it was time for me to go and share that story. You know, God showed me that my story mattered, that my message mattered, that my story was just part of a much bigger story, which was his story. And I realized that my message mattered. And guess what? So does yours. Your story, your message matters. And one of the best ways that you can get that message far and wide in front of people that it would never get in front of before is to write your story, to publish it, to put it in a book. And that's what tonight is all about. So how do we get those stories and those messages out there? Over the next few minutes, we're going to talk about a lot of really, really cool stuff. First, we're going to jump into why you should write a book. Now, I'm going to tell you this so that you're not furiously taking notes throughout this presentation. If you do stick around to the end, I will also send you the slides from tonight's presentation so that you will have them in your possession. So why do we write a book? Well, we write a book because it's a key that's going to open new doors. It's going to create speaking opportunities for you. I know some of y'all are probably sitting back going right now, oh my gosh, speaking, not for me. Listen, let me tell you something. You're already out there doing some speaking with your business at networking events and so on and so forth. It's going to open up more of those opportunities, and you should be out speaking. It's a great way to get your message, your story, your brand out in front of more people. It's going to open up PR opportunities. You know, you become a published author, radio, print, television, things are going to start to happen for you when you become a published author. Why you should write a book, again, is number two, it's going to expand your personal brand. It's going to brand you as an expert in whatever it is that you're doing. It's going to brand you as that expert. It's going to build your credibility. You know, most people still think that, you know, like I did, that you have to go lock yourself in a cabin in the mountains of Tennessee for 6 months, isolate yourself from society to write a book. And that's really not the case, right? It's way easier than that. You can make it happen a lot quicker and easier than that. But society as a whole, for the most part, they still think that it's this great feat to write a book. And so by you becoming a published author and having a book, it does build your credibility in the marketplace. It's going to be used. It can be used to market and get your brand out in front of more people. It is going to make you some money. It's an additional source of revenue. Now, you know, some people will tell you that you can't get rich off a book. Well, tell that to the people that have sold 1 million copies of their book. Guaranteed they got rich off that book. But it is additional a source of revenue for you. It becomes a lower barrier call to action. I always use real estate agents, and this is what I mean by this. I always use real estate agents as a great example, you know, because a real estate agent, they go out to a networking event and they stand up and they do a 30-second commercial about their business, and they're looking for two things, right? They're looking for somebody that's either selling a house or buying or wants to buy a house. That's what they're looking for. And the reality is that that's a very large purchase, right? So you have to have somebody in that room that is either ready to buy or ready to sell at that point in time, or your hope is, as a real estate agent, that later down the road, they will think of you when that happens, or that they will refer somebody to you that is in that place. So it's a high call to action, buying or selling a house. When you become a published author and now you have a book and you go out to these networking events, now you have a lower barrier call to action. Now you can get people in your space with something that literally they're making a $20 investment on. And of course, you get your message in front of those people as well. There are tax benefits. So even if you're an employee right now, you're working for another company, you're on W-2 or whatever, by writing a book, you can set up an LLC, and now you can start writing off things in your life and get some tax breaks on some of the stuff that you have going on out there. So number 4, and this is one of the most important reasons that we should write a book, is because it gives you the opportunity to serve. Your message, again, matters. God wants you to share that message, and he wants you to get that message in front of more people. And he's actually going to help you do that if you're obedient and you put this book of yours, this story of yours, into print. So it's going to get that message out there. It's going to make an impact. Y'all, every client that I have helped publish a book always reports back to me with all of these amazing testimonies that come in from all over the country and the world, for that matter, about how their book is impacting people. And it's such a powerful thing when you can do that. You're going to have a legacy product by writing this book. You know, my grandfather, the one that gave me that amazing advice that literally changed my life forever, you know, he had a crazy, amazing life. And he always talked about writing a book, and he never got around to it. And I would love nothing more than to be able to reach on my bookshelf in my library, pull out his book and share it with my kids so that they could know who their great grandfather was, so that they would have an opportunity to not only know his journey, his story, but for him to impart some of the things that he did in my life into them. Like, this is a product. This is your story. This is who you are, your journey, the things you've learned in this life that can be passed on from generation to generation to generation to generation. It is a legacy that you will leave behind. So, what do we write about? Well, let's jump right into that. First and foremost, one of the questions I always ask my clients is, what's your overall message? If I was to put you on stage today and I was to fill the room with people, and in the front row was your family, your friends, your kids, all the people that you love and care about the most, and I said to you, listen, I'm going to give you the microphone. You can share one big message with the audience. And when you're done sharing that message, you're going to take your last breath. Would you think about what that message would be? What would be the overall message that you would share with that audience, knowing that it was going to be your last message? Now, obviously, I'm not speaking this over you, and I'm not speaking that into existence. I'm giving you just a situation here to think about, to help you put this message in perspective. What would that message be? What would you share with that audience if it was the last message that you could give them? So take a moment when you get an opportunity and write that message down, because that's going to be the overall message of your book. Number two is, what was that defining moment in your life? Now, our lives are made up of many defining moments, right? Moments that taught us something extremely important, moments that created a shift in our lives, that took us from going one direction and pointed us in a completely different direction. So there are lots of defining moments in our lives, but there's always that one that was the one, right? It was that shift, that defining moment that literally changed everything and sent you on the course that you are on. And so take a piece of paper when you get a chance and write down those defining moments. You know, write down all the defining moments that took place in your life and circle that one that was the big one. Now, these defining moments are all going to play a factor as we move forward. What was your journey like to get here? So one of the things that we do with our Author Academy when I'm working with clients is, you know, we sit down, and the very first thing we do is we talk about that journey, starting from day one. Like, where were you born? What was your family dynamic life growing up? Who were the key players in your life? What are some of those defining moments? And we go on this journey from birth all the way up to now, leading us up to now. And so what we do is we lay out this timeline, and I'm going to jump into that timeline here with y'all in just a few. But when we're talking about how to structure it, but what was that journey like from birth to now? Because that's going to make up the first 5 chapters of our book. Number 4, is what are the 5 life lessons, the 5 most important lessons that you learned on your journey along the way. I'm going to give you that scenario once more. I'm going to put you on stage. I'm going to fill the audience, and you get to share with them 5 key lessons, 5 key things that you've learned in this life, in your journey, in your experience, personal, professional, all the above, right? What are those 5 life lessons that you could share with that audience that would improve their life, that would enhance their life, that would help them to live life more abundantly while they're here? What would those 5 things be? What are those 5 things that you've learned, the 5 most important things that you've learned in your journey? What would they be? When you get an opportunity, you want to write those 5 things down, because remember, again, after you share those 5 things from stage, it's going to be the last thing you get to share with them. So make sure that you put some thought into what those 5 lessons are. So number 1, you want to write down what that overall message of your book is going to be. Number 2, you want to write down those defining moments that took place in your life along the way. And we're gonna talk about that journey here in a few minutes as we talk about how to structure that. But again, it starts from day 1 to now. And then you're going to lay out those 5 life lessons. And I'm going to show you how this all comes together right now as we structure out this book. So first, I want to tell you a little bit about overall structure. I want to give you some information here that's super, super important to understand, right? I did a lot of research before I wrote my book. Unfortunately, I did not have a book coach when I wrote my book several years ago. I really wish I would have, because I had to figure it all out on my own. And let me tell you, the beauty of mentorship and the beauty of having a coach in your life is because that coach has already been there and done it. They've already done the research. They've already figured it all out. They've already paid thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to figure out what they can share with you very quickly that can literally get you on the right track right off the bat. And you don't have to go through all the pain and headache and research to try to figure it out on your own. And that's the beauty of having a coach. But unfortunately, when I wrote my first book, I didn't have that. So I had to do all the research and I had to spend all the money and I had to figure it all out, right, on my own. And so I'm going to share with you some things that I figured out and some things that I implement with every single one of my coaching clients. So the perfect size book is about 120 to 150 pages. Okay. Excuse me. One, because a book that's that thick, a book that is 2 or 3 inches thick, people are overwhelmed by it and they're probably not going to read it, because we live in a microwave mentality, right? We live in a microwave society. Everybody wants their information. They want it quick. They want to get their message and they want to get it and move on. And so when you have this really big, huge, thick book, most people are going to shy away from reading it. Okay. So the perfect size book literally is 120 to 150 pages. Anything smaller than 120 pages, and it looks more like a pamphlet than an actual book. So 120 to 150 pages is perfect. Now, one of the things I want you to keep in mind is that in a 120 to 150 page book, you're going to have title pages in there. You're going to have your dedication, your introduction. You're going to have your reference pages in the back of the book. So there are going to be a lot of fill pages in that book. You're probably going to have 10 to 20 fill pages at least. So in reality, you only need to write about 100 pages to get to your 120 to 150 page mark. So another way we structure it is we structure it by doing 10 to 12 chapters. So we know if we're looking to do a 120 page book, 150 page book, and you're only really having to write about 100 pages to 120 pages to get that number, then you only have to write about 10 to 12 pages per chapter. Now, we have a book writing template that we use that's already set up for a 6x9 book, and I use that with all of my coaching clients. And so with that book writing template, you can take a regular Word document, just a regular Word document. If you were to go on your laptop and you were to pull up Word and just leave the margins exactly the way they are on a Word document, just blank, plain Word document, and you were to start writing without changing any margins or anything like that, and you were to just start writing on a blank Word document, 5 pages in a blank Word document, when it's copied and pasted into the book writing template and structured and formatted, it actually equals 10 pages. It doubles in size. So I want you to put this in perspective for a minute. We're looking for 120 to 50, 150 pages. We're looking for 10 to 12 chapters. So we're looking for literally 10 to 12 pages per chapter. And in a regular Word document, you only have to write 5 or 6 to make up each chapter. Only 5 or 6 pages. So I want you to think about that for a second. 5 to 6 pages in a regular Word document, and you've written a whole chapter in your book. And that's just kind of breaking it down and simplifying it for you. So we want to create our rough outline first, and I'm going to go over that outline with you. And in that rough outline, here's what you're going to find. The first 5 chapters of the book are all about you. They're all about your journey. So chapters 1 through 5 is your life from birth to now, including those defining moments, taking us on a journey, telling your story. Now, if we're looking at 5 chapters on your story and we're breaking it down like we just did a few moments ago, you're talking about 25 to 30 pages in a regular Word document about your life. Guys, that's nothing. You can do that standing on your head. If you just sit down and block out some time, you can literally tell your story. And before you know it, I mean, you might have to leave some stuff out, right? Because it's going to be too much. And so when you think about that, 1 through 5 is all about your life from birth to now. Chapters 6 through 10, now it's all about your reader. So in chapters 6 through 10, we're going to go ahead and we're going to share those 5 life lessons. So those 5 life lessons become chapters 6 through 10. And I'm going to talk to you about that in a minute. So here's the timeline. And this is the timeline that we do with all of our clients as we're outlining our book. You see birth at one end and you see now at the other end. And then you've got those 5 key defining moments. And so we're going to start at, I was born here and my parents were this and they were that. And we're going to talk about your life, defining moment. Chapter 2, we're going to go from that defining moment, lead up to the next defining moment, and so on and so forth. And before you know it, we're here right now, right? To where you are right now in this life. And so this is what chapters 1 through 5 look like. And this is how we lay it out. So again, it's all about you, your defining moment. We're going to take them on a journey, talk about supporting characters and what was life like after your defining moment. So again, we talked about that one big key defining moment that takes place in your life. And so anytime we share a testimony, our testimony is always structured in this way. It's defining moment is at the center, that main big defining moment. And then it's what was life like before the defining moment? What was the defining moment? And what was life like after the defining moment? And so basically in chapters 1 through 5, we're really just doing that. And we're just extending that out. We're going to more detail about your life, your journey, and all those other defining moments. And then of course, chapters 6 through 10 are going to be those life lessons. Now, part of those life lessons, and this is one thing I want to remind you of, is like, I'll give you an example. Well, first I'll tell you this. When you get to those life lessons, the chapter 6 through 10, Google becomes your friend. Google becomes your friend. And the reason I say that is let's say that one of your life lessons is perseverance. So you're going to have a whole chapter about perseverance, right? Now, obviously, you're going to share in that chapter, some moments, some situations in life where you had to persevere. Somebody a friend of yours had to persevere. But you're also going to be able to resort to Google. And you're going to be able to pull up perseverance on Google. And you're going to be able to see what all these other people are saying about perseverance. And you're going to be able to grab some really cool stuff off of the internet and implement that into your book. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, well, Steve, isn't that plagiarism? No, no, it's only if you copy the entire work and claim it as your own is it plagiarism. You can go on Google and you can find a blog post about perseverance, and you can take a couple sentences out of that blog post, paste it in your book, and give credit to the author of it. That's not plagiarism. You're giving credit to that author. You're not claiming it as your own, right? Every day we share information that we heard from somebody else. It's not plagiarism. We give people credit, right? And so in that sense, Google, again, on chapters 6 through 10, Google becomes your friend. It's going to help you write. The Bible is going to help you write chapters 6 through 10, because I guarantee you, whatever those 5 life lessons are that you come up with, the Bible is going to have plenty of information and scripture regarding those 5 life lessons as well. I guarantee it. So again, chapters 1 through 5, it's all about you. It's your story. It's your journey. And why is that important? Because it gives your audience an opportunity to connect with you emotionally. One thing that we all have in common is struggle. It's the one common ground that we all have, because everybody here has struggled at some point in life. You have experienced pain, heartbreak, hurt, loss, struggle. Like, we have all experienced those things in our lives. And everybody that you come in contact with on a daily basis, for the most part, has experienced pain, heartbreak, struggle, loss, failure. So we all have this common ground in our struggles. And it's one of the reasons that we share our struggles, because it allows people to connect with us emotionally. So when you connect with them emotionally in those first 5 chapters, and they know you now, they've heard your story, they've been on a journey with you, they feel like they know you, and now you're going to go and you're going to share with them these life lessons. They're more apt to listen and pay attention to what you have to say, because they know you, they like you, they trust you now, as they've been on that journey with you for the first 5 chapters. And so that's why we structure it this way. All right. So how do we stay on track? This is key. This is one of the main things I run into with my clients is, staying focused on getting the book done. All right. So the way that you can stay focused on getting these things done is to block out time. It's unhealthy, as you see here, to write in spurts that are longer than 4 to 6 hours. It's just you get bogged down, you get tired, whatever, right? And so you want to write in short spurts. You want to block out maybe an hour a day to write. Make an appointment with yourself to write for an hour. Okay. And so write for a less amount of time, but write more frequently, as this says here on the screen. Reward yourself with breaks. Okay. You don't want to again get yourself so inundated in this that nothing else in life is going on. Yeah, make it a priority. Make sure that you set the appointment with yourself, but reward yourself, right? You accomplish something, you sit and write for an hour. Guys, you would be shocked. You could write an entire chapter in 1 hour. You can, I know, because I've done it, right, on numerous occasions. And so and clients of mine have done it on numerous occasions, where you can literally sit down in 1 hour and write an entire chapter. Now, when you put that in perspective, think about that for a second. We got 10 chapters. If you can write a chapter in an hour, wow, you could literally write your book in 10 hours. Yeah, it's crazy when you think about it. Turn off all the noise when you sit down. Distractions, they're going to come, but if you can block them out as much as possible, then that's what you have to do. You may have to leave the house and have a writing place that you go to where you can spend that hour writing and you're focused. You're not on your phone. Shut the phone down. Put on some nice music. Put on some meditation music as you're writing. But focus when you have that hour, when you make that appointment with yourself, that appointment with your book. You block out that hour, and there is nothing that interrupts or distracts you during that hour. Don't edit as you go. This is a major thing. And I'm sharing this with you because I did this, right? I would write a chapter, and then I would take a break for a day or two, and then I would come back and I would reread the chapter, and I would rewrite the chapter. And then I would take a break for a few days, and then I would come back and reread the chapter and rewrite the chapter. Don't worry about that. Just write. When you're done with that chapter, move on to the next one. Do not go back, proofread, re-edit, do all this kind of stuff. There'll be a time and a place for that. We'll do that at the end. We will edit the book once you've got those 10 chapters down. We'll make some adjustments to it then. But you will never get this book done if you're constantly going back and rewriting and rewriting and re-editing and rewriting and you'll never get it done. We are going to edit this book. We're going to make that happen. And it's going to happen in time, not while you're doing it. Okay. Please don't do that. It's a big mistake. Be spontaneous. All right. Don't write what you think you should write. Write what inspires you, what you feel. This may fly in the face of what you think it means to stay focused, but it will give you some room to be creative. It's okay to have fun with this book. Okay. It's okay to share some of the crazy stories that you've experienced along your journey in this life. So be spontaneous. Do not overthink this. Just sit down and tell the stories. Set a goal, set a writing goal for yourself. John Grisham, one of my favorite authors out there, he used to get up every morning and write 1 page per day. That was his goal. Some days he wrote more than a page. Other days he just scraped by and getting that 1 page done. But the point was that he set a realistic, attainable goal. And he knew if he did this every day, he would eventually get that book done. And he did. And setting small goals is going to help build your confidence, and it's going to do more for your writing career than you might realize, right? Because I will tell you this: once you get that first book done, you're going to be like, huh, piece of cake. Let me write the second one, because we all have more than one book inside of us, right? And so when you get that first book done, you are going to want to write another book. I promise you, when you see how painless it really was to get it done. But set some goals, right? And write a little bit each day. Find an accountability partner. Again, I talk about the coach. I talk about the mentor, having somebody that is going to push you, that's going to hold you accountable. All right. Somebody that has done it, somebody that's been there, somebody that's written a book, maybe somebody that's doing it right now. Go on that journey together. The Author Academy Facebook group is a great place to find somebody that's going through that journey of writing a book. And when somebody joins our Author Academy, they have access to not only me, but an entire community of other people that are going through the Author Academy and writing their books. So make sure you find somebody that will be an accountability partner for you. Focus. Seek some inspiration. You can go on, you can watch YouTube videos, search out Google on your topic, read some other people's stories regarding perseverance, if that's one of our bullets, or one of our life lessons. Go and watch these videos. Again, Google is your friend when you get stuck in the writing process. Whatever subject or topic it is that you're talking about, if you get stuck, Google it. Google that topic, and all of a sudden your wheels are going to start spinning again, and you're going to be like, oh yeah, absolutely. Oh, you're going to think about a story that you remember, that you heard, that you're like, man, I got to put that in the book. And last, but of course not least, is prayer. Prayer will help you to stay focused. All right. If you're a believer, then lean on God. God wants to author this book with you. And God's going to ultimately, if you allow him to author this book with you and lead you and guide you in that process, then he's going to do some amazing things with this book, things that you would never be able to accomplish on your own. So have faith in that. All right. All right. Moving right along here. So these are just some few ways that you can stay focused. I'm sure there's a lot more, but if you're like me, you might have to bribe yourself into doing it, which is fine. Do whatever it takes, but just get your butt in that chair and do something. Once you start, you're far more likely than to finish it. So just get started, and the time is now. It's not tomorrow, next week, a month from now, a year from now. Listen, you have a story already, and it's a matter of you sitting down and opening up that blank Word document and just starting to write. Now, obviously, you want to make sure you outline it, right? We've got those first 5 chapters of our life, our journey from birth to now. The second 5 chapters are those 5 life lessons. And on those 5 life lessons, I would tell you this: go with your gut. I usually put my clients on the spot with the 5 life lessons, and I say to them, tell me right now, what are the 5 things that you would share if I put you on stage right now? Because those 5 things, those first 5 things that come to you are going to be the 5 things. If you think about it for a long time and you really, no, go with your gut. What are those 5 things that you would share right now if you were put on the spot? What would those 5 things be? Right. And so outline that book and then start writing it. Another tip to help you stay focused, and this can come a little bit later in the writing process, but I played around with my book for a while, and I would get sidetracked, and I would go and I would do something else, and then I would come back, and after a while, and somebody suggested to me, why don't you get your book cover designed? And so I got with my graphic artist and I had him design my book cover. And let me tell you something, y'all, when he sent that book cover over to me, it became reality, and it lit a fire under me when I saw my book cover and realized that the only thing standing between me and that book becoming a reality was me. It was my dedication. It was my discipline. It was me blocking out the time to do it was the only thing that was standing in the way of that book being published and becoming a reality. And so when I saw that book cover, it really lit a fire under me. So if you're, in the writing process and you're stuck and you're just in need of some motivation, get your book cover designed, because when you see it, it will light a fire under you to get it done. So let's talk a little bit about publishing, and then we're going to let you guys get out of here. So publishing, I did a lot of research on this, the difference between self-publishing and traditional publishing. And so with self-publishing, you're pretty much on your own, right? You're going to write the book. You're going to get that book edited. You're going to publish that book. You're going to be in charge of marketing and all of that kind of stuff. You're on your own, but there's a lot of positives to being on your own. I'm going to share those with you here in a few moments. Higher royalties. You're going to receive higher royalties on your book by self-publishing than you would by going through a publisher. The publishers take a larger portion of your profits off of your book than you would have to give up going through self-publishing. One of the good things about self-publishing is you are in complete control. You are in complete control of your book, your story, your message, what happens with that book, where that book goes. You are in complete control. You're going to get published sooner than if you go through a publisher in most cases. Okay. Because again, you're in control. You have the opportunity to get it done a lot quicker. You're responsible for the marketing. Now, in going through traditional publishing, you're not on your own. You're going to have a team of people that are going to be working with you along the way, guiding you, etc. You are going to get smaller royalties on your book, and you have little control. Meaning, when you go through a traditional publisher, in most cases, they own your book for the most part. They can change the title. They can change the stuff inside the book. They can tell you when, where, how, why, and what. So again, you are not in complete control of your own book's destiny. You're putting it in the hands of somebody else. When you go through a traditional publisher, usually it's a longer process than if you are running things on your own. And one of the downfalls is you're still going to be responsible for marketing. Traditional publishing, in the beginning, they're going to do some things for you, but at some point, it's all on you. You're going to end up going out and marketing and promoting your book pretty much on your own for the most part. So what I do with each one of my coaching clients is I guide them into the self-publishing process. And the reason being is because for me, when I looked at all of the things, I wanted to go self-publishing because I wanted to be in charge of my own book. I wanted to be able to control my own book. I didn't want anybody telling me when, where, how, why, and what, right? I wanted to be in control. I also, I knew that I could get that book out there, and I knew that I could share it with people. And I knew I could do the marketing probably better than a lot of these other outfits are doing it. But the main reason that I went the self-publishing route was because there was too many horror stories about going through publishers. Okay. Matter of fact, I got a call a couple months ago from a friend of mine that I'd given some advice to on writing and publishing their book. They ended up going through a publisher. They didn't take my advice and self-publish. They went through a publisher, and they called me a couple months ago and said, "Hey, we need to meet with you." And so I sat down with them over lunch, and they said, "We need your help." And I'm like, "What's going on?" And they said, "We have 4,000 books on our dining room table right now, and we don't know what to do with them. We don't know how to get rid of them because the publisher, which they had spent thousands and thousands of dollars on this publisher, one of the fine print details was that they had to purchase a certain amount of books minimum from that publisher. And unfortunately, that publisher didn't help them unload those books. And so reality is they were stuck with 4,000 books on their dining room table, and they didn't know what to do with them. And they didn't even know how to recoup their money. And so I spent some time with them, gave them some tips on some things that they could do to get those books sold. But again, that's just one of many. I've got another lady that literally her publishing company that she went through, they take so much of her money from her book that she doesn't make any money on her book. The publishing company is pretty much making all the money. Like, they're literally charging her what people pay retail for your book. So when you self-publish, your book on average is going to cost you about $2.50 to about $3.50. And that's with shipping. And when you self-publish, it's print on demand. So you can order 10 books if you want, or you can order 100 books. You can order however many you want. You're not required to order a minimum amount of books, which is where a lot of these publishing companies, get you, is they require you to purchase a certain amount of books. So guys, listen, I share all this with you tonight, and I come to you because, I've helped a lot of people publish books, people like Sue Heath, 75 years old when she wrote this book. Her book is called The Final Quarter. And again, it's the journey of her life and the lessons that she learned along the way. So no matter what age you are, what stage you are in life, it's never too late to take your story and get it out to the masses. Ron Jenna, one of my most recent authors, just published his book, Back Porch Faith. Amazing, amazing book. It's already opening so many phenomenal doors for him all over the place, lining him up speaking opportunities, getting him interviewed on television. Jim Willis, how on earth did I get here? Another amazing, amazing testimony. And so, these are just a few of the people that I have helped published. And as I promised you earlier, if you stuck around to the end, I was going to share something with you that would be a guaranteed way that you could get this book done here in 2024. So with that said, my Author Academy program is a private coaching program where I work with people one-on-one in everything from outlining their book all the way to launching their book and promoting this book. My Author Academy program is a $12,000 program. It's $1,000 a month to work with me personally on helping you write your book, outline your book, write your book, edit your book, and get that book published and launched. And of course, I teach you all the marketing strategies and stuff to get that book out to the masses after you have launched it and published it. But $12,000 is a pretty large investment, right? And there are people that are ready to write their books and want to write their books and want to get started and want to get it done, but they don't have $1,000 a month to invest, and I understand that. So I got with my team and we created the Author Academy online, and I want to tell you what that entails. So I've created an online journey that is literally going to teach you everything you need to know about writing and publishing your book. Everything from the ideation of your book and the concept of your book to creating your title, your outlining your book, structuring your book. I'm going to teach you all the advanced writing tips, editing, publishing. I'm going to coach you through every aspect of that. I'm also going to teach you how to start pre-selling the book before the book is even complete. I'm going to teach you how to launch the book, how to create a book launch party that is going to draw everybody in to come and celebrate the launch of your book with you. One of the things I do as a professional speaker and event guy is I plan and market my own events. And so I've learned a lot about marketing and promotion of events. And so I use all that expertise and knowledge in teaching you how to create a book launch party that's going to get people there and create a huge celebration over the launch of your book. Also, of course, again, I'm going to teach you in the Author Academy everything you need to know about marketing that book and opening all those doors and creating all those opportunities that we talked about earlier. So the Author Academy online course is $1,997. As an added bonus, I'm going to actually give you the framework. This is the outline that I sit down and use with every single one of my Author Academy clients. We have structured and outlined every book that has been written and published with this framework right here. And I'm going to give that to you. You're going to have it, and you're going to walk through that framework step by step. And this is a comprehensive guide to outlining and drafting your book. As an added bonus, I'm going to give you that book writing template as well. The one I talked about, the one that is already set up for a 6x9 book. Remember, we're writing in that Word document, and then we're taking those 5 pages in that Word document and we're copying them, and then we're putting them into this book writing template, and we have 10 pages. And so you're going to be able to see your book as you're creating it and as you're writing and as you're structuring. The pages are numbered. They will adjust as you add. And so this book writing template is super, super awesome. I use it with every single one of my clients, and I use it for every single book that I write. As another bonus, you're actually going to get become part of that private Facebook group that I mentioned to you earlier, which is all the other authors that are going through the Author Academy. So you're going to have a community of people that you're going to interact with. You're going to get tips from that are going to help be additional accountability partners to you. And guess what? Because you're in there and you're developing relationships, you're also networking. These people in the Author Academy are going to be people that are going to be at your book launch, that are going to be there to support you, to share, to promote your book when it's done. So it's a very, very powerful group to be a part of. And the last bonus, and I'm limiting this to 10 people, the first 10 people that take advantage of what I'm sharing with you here this evening, okay? I'm going to give you 3 private coaching sessions throughout the book writing process. So you and I are going to spend one-on-one time together. I'm going to be going over your book with you. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to outline your book. I am going to, in one session, I'm going to help you outline your entire book in one session. And then all you have to do from there is go and start writing. But you're going to have a few more sessions with me, private sessions, along the way, along the journey. And we'll spread those out as we work on this book. But I'm limiting this to just the first 10 people that take advantage of this. So again, in our session, we're gonna discuss what to write about. Not only are we gonna discuss it, we're gonna fine tune it and we're gonna lay it out. We're gonna outline the book. We're gonna schedule your writing. We're going to talk, and I'm going to give you all the tips and everything about self-publishing. I'm even going to help you go and self-publish, and I'm going to help you plan your book launch party. These are the main things we're going to cover in these coaching sessions. This alone is valued at well over $1,500, but I put a $1,500 value on this based on the amount of time that you and I are going to spend together. So what you're going to get is you're going to get the Author Academy online course, and the online course is going to be distributed to you. You're going to receive videos, and these videos are in bite-sized chunks, guys, just breaking it all down for you. 5 to 10 minutes in each video, maybe 15 on a couple of the videos, but these videos are going to be in bite-sized chunks, and you're going to get a video every couple of days that's going to walk you through every step of the process of writing and publishing this book. You're also going to get the book writing template. You're going to become part of the Facebook group, and you're going to get those 3 private coaching sessions with me. And you're going to also get that framework that I use with every single one of my private coaching clients. The total value of all of this is $3,497. Now, everything that I'm giving to you here in this program, I spent a lot more than $3,497 to figure it all out. And guys, I'm not holding back any information here. Like, everything I'm giving to you in this program is everything you need to become a published author this year, 2024. By the end of the year, based on your commitment, you will be able to publish your first book by the end of this year, maybe even sooner. Okay. So it costs me a lot more time, energy, money, effort, doing it the wrong way. You know, I mentioned to you earlier that, you know, having a coach, gosh, I wish I would have had a coach back then. It would have saved me so much money. It would have saved me so much time. It would have saved me so much heartache trying to figure it all out on my own. It cost me a lot more than $3,497 for everything that I give you and teach you and share with you in this program, in this author, excuse me, in this Author Academy program. But I'm not going to charge you $3,497. I'm not going to ask you to invest that tonight. Tonight, I'm going to ask you to invest $497. And for that $497, you're going to get all of it. Everything that I just shared with you. You're going to get the Author Academy online course. You're going to get the book writing template. You're going to get the private Facebook group. You're going to get those coaching sessions with me, the outlining framework. And guys, I can tell you right now, the 3 coaching sessions with me are way more valuable than the $497, and you're getting all the other stuff. 3 coaching sessions with me cost more than $497, and you're getting that included as part of this tonight. So for $497, I'm going to give you everything you need to write and publish your book. Here's my guarantee. If you go through the program fully, if you don't feel you receive the value, then I will give you the investment back, no questions asked. But I guarantee you that when you go through this program, you are going to be singing off the rooftop about how amazing it was, because you're going to be a published author, and that's going to have a lot to do with what I share with you in this program. And so one last recap here. What you're going to get is the Author Academy. You're going to get the book writing template. You're going to get the private Facebook group. You're going to get those 3 private coaching sessions with me. And again, that's for the first 10 people that go and sign up for this tonight. And you can get started with all of it for just $497. So if you want to go on this journey with me, if you're ready to get that book written, I'm going to help you do it. That is my commitment. You can go to shimasterclass.com right now, get signed up. You're going to start receiving things immediately. You're going to get the framework. You're going to get the book writing template. You're going to get the very first video that's that welcome video that's going to get you started. And then we are going to be in contact and we'll schedule that first session for you within the next week or so. Okay. So go to shimasterclass.com. Take advantage of this, y'all. I'm telling you right now, it's worth its weight in gold. Being a published author changed my life. It's changed my clients' lives, and it's going to change your life. And you know what? If you don't think you have a story to share, sign up for this. And I promise you that in our very first session, we will pull that story out of you and you will have a book by the end of that first session. We'll have it already laid out. We'll have it outlined, because that's one of the gifts that God has given me, is to take that story of yours, pull it out, help you structure it, and ultimately help you get it out to the masses. So go to shimasterclass.com. Now, for anybody that signs up tonight, I also have a mystery bonus that I'm going to give to you. And it's worth way more than even the $3,497 value of the program. It's definitely worth more than the $497 that you're going to invest to be part of this. So I'm not going to tell you what that mystery bonus is. You have to go sign up. You got to step out on faith. You got to take that leap. And I'm going to share that mystery bonus with you once we meet for the very first time. So go to shimasterclass.com. Take advantage of what I'm offering you guys here tonight. Don't let this opportunity pass you by. I can't wait to be at your book launch party this year, 2024. I can't wait to promote and share your book and talk about the amazing story that we're going to write in your book about your journey, your life, and all those lessons that you've learned along the way. And I can't wait to hear the testimonies that come in from all over the world about the impact that your book has had. And I can't wait to hear the testimony from you about the doors that have been opened and the opportunities that have been created because you wrote your book and because you became a published author. I can't wait for that. So I hope you take advantage of this. And I'll leave you with this. Okay. You don't get to come back and do this again. You don't get to come back and do this life again, right? When you take that last breath, you don't get to come back and do this again. Your story matters. Your story matters. It matters to God. There are people that are waiting out there right now that your story has an opportunity to impact. It could be absolutely life-changing. And that person is out there waiting for your book to end up in their hands so that they can have that breakthrough, life-changing experience that your book can provide. And guys, that's just scratching the surface to what your book and what your message can go out there and accomplish. It matters. And it's time. It's time now. It's time now to take that story of yours out to the masses. You know, when my grandfather that gave me that amazing advice that changed my life when I was, you know, in that prison cell that night, he passed away several years ago, and we went to visit him as he was in the hospital taking, you know, his last breaths. And, you know, as we sat around his bedside, we weren't, you know, talking about success or money or anything like that. We were talking about the impact that he had made in our lives and the things that he had poured into us. I mentioned this earlier. I wish I could reach on his shelf right now and pull that book out and share it with others so that those things that he learned in his journey and imparted on us, that he could take those and that we could still share those with people. Your story, your message, your lessons, the things you've learned in this life, man, they are going to impact some lives in a big, big way. You know, as we sat around his bed as well, there was only one thing that we wanted more of, and that was time. And time goes by so fast. And you gave some of that precious time to me tonight, and I love you for it. I appreciate you for it. I hope that you got something out of this tonight. I hope it was valuable for you, and I actually hope that you'll do something with it. And if you need that accountability, you need that person to hold your hand, to walk through this journey with you, to help you get this book done, to believe in you on the days that you don't believe in yourself, then I'm your guy. I promise you that. Go to shimasterclass.com, get registered, take the program. I promise you won't regret it. God bless you guys. I hope tonight was valuable for you, and we'll see you soon.